It was 1977, and the small town of Colares on the coast of Pará in the Brazilian Amazon was living its simple days under the humid jungle heat. Fishermen left at dawn, children played in the dirt streets, and the nights were silent, lit only by the stars. But everything changed in October of that year. Something began appearing in the skies over Colares, and what happened next was never fully explained. The first victims were ordinary people, humble residents who barely had words to describe what they had seen. They woke up with circular marks on their bodies, precise small burns, as if something had pierced their skin and drawn something from within. That's why the locals gave the phenomenon a name that made their skin crawl: Chupa-Chupa. The name came from what they felt, the sensation that something had sucked their blood during the night. The stories spread quickly through the town. A local woman named Benedita woke up screaming in the middle of the night, a red mark burning on her neck like a hot ember. She said she had seen a white light enter through the window before losing consciousness. A fisherman named Raimundo was found unconscious in his hammock with two symmetrical marks on his chest that local doctors couldn't explain. When he came to, he said he had felt his body being lifted. Fear consumed Colares. People stopped sleeping with their windows open. The men stood guard through the night, armed with machetes and lanterns, not knowing what they were fighting against. Children slept in their parents' rooms, trembling at the slightest sound from above, and the lights kept appearing. They were described differently by each witness, but there were always common elements: an intense light, white or bluish, moving in absolute silence. It made no sound, left no trace on the ground, but it left marks on people. In some cases, the light seemed to follow certain individuals, as if choosing them with purpose. A teenage girl named Marinetti said she ran through her backyard trying to escape a beam of light chasing her between the trees. She fell, hit her head, and when her mother found her, there was a perfect burn mark on her left shoulder. The cases multiplied over the following weeks. Local doctors reported dozens of patients with similar symptoms: anemia, extreme weakness, skin lesions, and a fear that no medicine could treat. Some residents said the attacks happened more often near the water, along the riverbanks, and on the island's dark beaches. The news reached Belém, and from there it reached the government. What most people don't know is that the Brazilian army did not ignore the reports from Colares. In December of 1977, a secret operation was hastily assembled. Its name was Operation Saucer, Operação Prato. A team of military personnel, led by Captain Uirangé Bolivar Soares Nogueira de Holanda, was dispatched to Colares with cameras, night vision equipment, and a mission to document everything. What they found shook them in ways none of them had anticipated. For months, the military documented the luminous objects. They photographed flying discs over the jungle, lights in motion that defied any conventional explanation. They collected testimonies from hundreds of residents. They examined the wounds on the victims' bodies. By the end of the operation, Captain Holanda had gathered over 500 photographs, 3 hours of footage, and detailed reports on the victims and the phenomena. And then, everything was classified as secret. The files were collected, the soldiers were instructed not to speak, and Colares was left behind, as if nothing had ever happened. For decades, Captain Holanda remained silent, but in 1997, 20 years after the events, he agreed to give an interview. He confirmed everything. He said he had personally seen the objects in the sky. He said the reports were real, the photographs were real, and that the victims had suffered genuine injuries that could not be explained by any known technology. He also said he had formally requested that the files be made public, and that his request had been denied. A few months after giving the interview, Captain Uirangé Holanda was found dead. The official report listed suicide, But those who knew him said he had been calm, that he had finally found peace in telling the truth, and that there had been no sign whatsoever that he intended to take his own life. The files from Operation Saucer remain classified. In 2004, a portion of the photographs was partially released by the Brazilian government, but the primary documents remain sealed, out of public reach. Residents of Colares who still live in the region speak about those nights in hushed voices. They don't want attention, they don't want to be called crazy, but they haven't forgotten. One of the last documented survivors, now elderly, said in an interview that she still lights a candle every night, not for religion, but because the candlelight, she says, keeps the other lights away, the ones that came from the sky, the ones that chose people. To this day, no official explanation has ever been given. No one was ever held responsible. And in Colares, when the night falls and the stars disappear behind the clouds, the oldest residents still look up at the sky with a kind of fear that words cannot describe, because they know what those lights did, and they know they never truly went away.